very happy to hear from you and very happy to help you. This is an advanced English lesson looking at phrasal verbs and looking at phrasal verbs with the verb come, to come. So as we've always said, phrasal verbs are quite common. They're used in every day, but they're always used with very simple verbs. And in this case, it's the verb to come. Now, some of these phrasal verbs are going to be 2 parts and some of them are going to be 3 parts. So it's just an extra preposition. So most phrasal verbs are verb plus preposition. Some have verb plus 2 prepositions. And it's really important because they give it a very different meaning. For example, come down, that's a phrasal verb with 1 preposition. But if I say come down with, there you have 2 prepositions, down and with, but the meaning completely different. So listen out as we go through each of these examples, and I'll set out and point out when there are 2 or when there are 3-part phrasal verbs. Okay, so as I said, it's an advanced English lesson looking at phrasal verbs with come. We've got 30 in total, so try to keep awake, okay? So I'll make it as interesting as possible, but you've got 30 phrasal verbs, 2 and 3 parts. So let's get started. The first one is come about, come about. Now, we can ask a question. How did that come about? Means how did that happen, or when did that arise? How did that come about? So if you have a problem in the office and a customer is complaining about something, your boss might ask you, well, how did that come about? Meaning, why is the client or the customer complaining? What happened to put him in a position that he had to complain? So how did that come about? Meaning, how did it arise or how did it happen? Number 2, to come across. When we come across something, we usually find it by accident. We didn't set out to look for it, but we do find it. So, for example, if you go to a car boot sale, which people love to go to, or you go to one of these markets or fairs, you're just looking around, walking around, and suddenly at the corner of your eye, you see something really interesting on one of the tables, and you see it, and the price is really good, a little gold medallion or a watch or a necklace or a ring, and it's got a really generous price on it, so you buy it. So when you go home to your friend, you say, look what I came across in the market. Wow, it's beautiful. Yeah, and it only cost me €10. So to come across something means to find something accidentally, but you didn't set out to look for it in the first place. Okay, to come across. Number 3, to come after. Well, we can come after somebody, okay? Someone's coming after me, I'm running down the street, and there's somebody 100 meters behind shouting and screaming, stop, stop, stop. They are coming after me, okay? Perhaps it's a gang, or perhaps it's a thief, or perhaps it's somebody else trying to catch you. They're coming after you. In another way, we can also use come after when something follows something else. The news will come after this program, or the news will come after this announcement that is coming from the government. So if the government are making a very important announcement, they interrupt the programs and they will say normal programs will come after this announcement, meaning they will follow this announcement. To come after. Number 4, come along. Okay, so this often is a request or an order. We will give somebody, come along with me. Okay, so the teacher might say to the disobedient student, you'll have to come along with me to the principal's office and explain why you haven't done your homework for the last 3 days. Okay? Come along to the party. That's just a general invitation. Come along whenever you like. Come along at 7 or 8 or 9. It's an open house. Whenever you're ready, you just come and we will welcome you. So come along. Yeah, come along anytime, meaning anytime that you wish. Our house or door is always open, particularly for the party. So to come along. Number 5, come apart. Now, when something comes apart, it usually breaks up in small pieces. So you buy your nephew or your niece some what you think nice little present for their birthday, and when they're playing with it, it breaks and so it comes apart, and so the poor niece or nephew are in tears that the present from their favorite aunt didn't actually work out that way, so you're horrified. So you take it back to the shop the next day, say, look at this, only 5 minutes they were playing with it, and it came apart in pieces, and I didn't do anything, they didn't do anything, I think it needs to be replaced. And they say, of course, madam, we will replace it immediately. So when something comes apart, it breaks up or splits into different pieces. Come round. Number 6, come round. Well, you can use this as, again, a general invitation. So perhaps somebody new has moved into your area, okay, and you say, oh, look, it's nice to meet you. Why don't you come round for a cup of tea? So it's a nice way to invite somebody to your home. Come round, to invite. Or you say, yeah, I'll come round later, but I have to wait until my husband comes home from work so he can look after the kids. I'll come round in a few minutes. Or if you're passing by your mother's or your parents' house on the way home from work and you give them a call on the phone, when the car is stationary, of course, I'll come round in about 15 minutes. I'm just on my way home from work, but I'll drop in to see you. I'll come round and we'll have a cup of tea and you can tell me all of the problems. So to come round. Number 7, come at. When somebody comes at you, it's usually with the intention of attacking you. So he came at me with this knife and I had to protect myself and put my hands up to my face. Or he came at the police officer with a big stick during the protest. So when somebody has the intention deliberately of attacking you, they come at you with some weapon, a rifle, a gun, a knife, a stick, a brick, a bottle, whatever it might be. But the intention is to hurt and cause physical damage. So to come at somebody, and they usually come at somebody with something. Number 8, come before. Now, when something comes before, it usually means that it is more important than something else, okay? So to come before, yeah? So the principal or the director comes before everybody else in the organization, meaning he's the head of the organization and he's considered to me more important than the others, yes? Or perhaps when we talk about meal times, the starter comes before the main course, which comes before the dessert. So that's the order in which things appear. First course meaning the starter, the main course meaning the main dish, and then finally, if you're lucky, you get a dessert or the third course. So to come before something means the order of importance. Number 9, to come between. Well, when we come between people, it means we get in the middle of some row. Never come between a husband and wife who are having an argument. It means don't take sides. So if your two best friends who are married are having a bit of a fight or an argument, best to sit out, not to take sides, because you're going to end up in the bad place. Yeah, you're going to end up on the naughty step because you'll have sided with him or her, and the other person is going to be very upset. So never come between two people who are having an argument. Or, indeed, if you've got a pet dog, never come between your dog and his bowl of food, because he might be nice and friendly when you're playing with him, but if you don't let him get his food, you might become a little bit angry and aggressive. So don't come between the dog and his daily meal. Okay, so to get in the middle or to stop or prevent somebody from getting something. Okay, to come between. And number 10, to come by something. So we ask a question, how did you come by that? And to come by means, how did you get it? Where did you get it from? So you're showing your friend this beautiful necklace that you have, or this pendant that you bought, or this beautiful gold or silver ring, and they say, oh wow, that's really, really beautiful. How did you come by that? Meaning, how did you get it? Well, I was in that market, or I was in that car boot sale that I went to last Saturday or Sunday and you weren't available, and there's some really interesting things, but this just caught my eye. It's really beautiful. I'm not so sure how much it's really worth, but I only paid €10 for it, yeah? So how did you come by something means how did you get it? How did you acquire it? Okay, so just remember that. Come by, acquire, or get. Okay, so you're still with me. Then we're on to number 11. So as I said, we've got 30 of these in total, all phrasal verbs with the verb come. So number 11 is to come down on, come down on. And this is all about punishment. To come down on is when somebody gets punished severely, okay? So perhaps the courts or the judges sitting in the courts come down on those people involved in drug trafficking or people trafficking, or indeed they may come down on those people involved in antisocial behavior like drinking in the streets or drinking in the parks or annoying the elderly. So to come down on somebody means to criticize heavily or to punish heavily for something that they have done. So that's number 11, to come down on. Number 12 is another three-part verb, okay, and this is come down to. So very different meaning, come down to. So when we use come down to, it means it ends up that way eventually. So when we talk about arguments, what the government are doing, or what local developers are doing, why they're doing this, why they are building that, why are they changing laws, somebody might say, well, look, it all comes down to money in the end. So meaning money is the root of all evil. It comes down to money in the end. You could be negotiating with your boss for an increase in some payment or to get some bonuses for the staff on your team, whatever it might be, and your boss say, well, you've got really good conditions here, we give you free food in the canteen and all these other extras. Yeah, that's fine, but it all comes down to money in the end. These guys want extra money in their pocket because they've got to pay extra grocery expenses because of inflation, whatever it might be, but it all comes down to money in the end, meaning finally, whatever you decide, whatever you think, at the end of the day, it's a question of money, to come down to something. Okay. Next, to come down with. Again, another three-part phrasal verb here, to come down with something. Usually we use this when somebody becomes ill. So to come down with the flu means to be sick with the flu. To come down with a toothache means to have a bad tooth. To come down with a sore back means you have a sore back. So if you can't make it into the office and you have to send a text or an email to somebody, look, I'm really sorry, can't make it today. I've come down with food poisoning. I ate some chicken yesterday. Obviously, it wasn't good. I've come down with the flu over the weekend. I'm not going to be able to make it into work on Monday. I've come down with a terrible headache and toothache. I'm going to have to go to the doctors. I'll try to get into the office by lunchtime. So to come down with something means to fall ill with something. Toothache, headache, stomachache, flu, whatever it might be, to come down with.